We've got some big scoops in the world of the Vancouver Canucks today, starting out with the defense and the contracts. Because about an hour ago, GM Patrik Allvin announced that the Vancouver Canucks have agreed to terms with D-man Derek Forbort on a 1-year, $2 million AAV deal. Now, I like this a lot, because for the first time in what seems to be forever, the Vancouver Canucks actually sign a guy who is heading into free agency that they actually wanted to keep. For years, between the Bessers and the Suitors this year, to Zadorov last year, to Toffoli, Tanev, and Markstrom 5 years ago, it feels like the Vancouver Canucks are always getting stifled by these players that are becoming UFAs, and the Vancouver GM just fumbles away the opportunity to sign them, and they end up going elsewhere, making some good money and making some good plays at the same time. It seems like forever ago that the Vancouver Canucks were actually able to get a guy signed right before he hits the UFA market. And with Derek Forbort, this is a very solid depth defenseman who proved his worth in the Canucks organization last year as one of the more stabilizing presences on the PK, a smart veteran who knows what it takes to win games in this league, and a guy whose presence is very valued amongst the Canucks organization. No nonsense, really active stick. He made Noah Juulsen even just a tad bit more stomachable at the NHL level, which is a pretty difficult thing to do, to be honest. But now I'm kind of thinking, with the Vancouver Canucks already having Hughes, Hronek, MPD, DPD, Myers, and Mancini all on the team next year, and that doesn't even include Tom Willander, I'm kind of thinking, okay, are there going to be 8 D-men rotating around the Vancouver Canucks organization next year? Who comes in and who comes out? Because obviously, MPD, Myers, Hughes, and Hronek are your 4. Those guys, if they are healthy all year, they're going to play 82 games. You got 2 spots left, but 4 guys left in DPD, Mancini, Willander, and Forbort. I will say, this D-core is a lot better than it was last year, where the Canucks 8 were Hughes, Hronek, Myers, Desharnais, Noah Juulsen, Forbort, and then you had like Mark Friedman and Carson Soucy. Like, that D-core kind of sucked compared to what they have now. This is a lot better this season. Just with the Mancini explosion in the AHL, with DPD and his capabilities being exhibited in the National Hockey League, and of course Tom Willander, hot young prospect, and Derek Forbort too. Honestly, I don't think the Canucks got the most out of Derek Forbort that they could have gotten last year, considering the fact that he was injured for a good chunk of the season, and you could definitely feel the absence when he wasn't in the lineup. Carson Soucy and Myers just were not it last year, and Noah Juulsen sucked too. So for Derek Forbort to come back, he certainly was a stabilizing force. I just wonder where the Canucks go with their D-core next season, because the fact that they didn't send down Elias Pettersson to the Abbotsford playoff run says to me that they believe that he is a full-time NHLer now. Tom Willander, who knows what his profile is going to be, but you already have some folks saying that he could be a top 4 NHL D-man already. Victor Mancini is looking too good for Abbotsford. I'd be surprised if he had started out there next season. So does that open the door to maybe a D-man trade? Do you take one of these 4 main pieces in a Hughes, Hronek, Myers, and a Marcus Petey, and you think about trading one of them, and you go with 70 instead? I don't know. I mean, I could understand if the Canucks traded away Hronek, for example. They ran with Hughes, Myers, DPD, MPD, and Forbort as a guaranteed 5, with Willander and Mancini rotating every other game or something like that. Give them 41 games apiece, assuming everybody stays healthy, of course. Nobody is, but assuming everybody is healthy, that's kind of the proper way I would say you could develop this D-core, because you do have 3 young guys that all need playing time. That is all, of course, assuming Tom Willander is good enough to make the National Hockey League right away, like some folks are speculating he is. It's not guaranteed, but we'll see. I just kind of wonder, with Derek Forbort still in the mix here. You got 3 left-handed D-men already that are supposed to be penciled in there, the 2 PDs and Hughes. So do you want to play Forbort on the right? Do you move DPD to the right? Or do you play even all of them at the same time? I'm not too sure. We'll see what Adam Foote has in stock in terms of the line pairings and the defensive systems. But speaking about defensive systems, the Vancouver Canucks are on the cusp of hiring another defensive guy. Thomas Drance tweeted this out earlier this morning. The Canucks will be hiring former Blackhawks and Bruins assistant coach Kevin Dean, whose name, Rick Dhaliwal, surfaced last week to join Adam Foote's staff. Foote and the club are still finalizing the rest of the staff. Dean hired to be announced when that is complete. Now, Kevin Dean will probably be brought into the Vancouver Canucks organization to be their defensive coach. And I know nothing about Kevin Dean, but he is a guy that Rick Dhaliwal was praising a lot on Donnie and Dolly earlier in the week. And you can debate it's for very good reason. If you go over to Kevin Dean and his team staff profile on Elite Prospects, you will see that his most recent body of work was with the Chicago Blackhawks in an assistant coach role, primarily the defensive coach. And I will say, the Chicago Blackhawks actually had reasonably good defending in terms of the development of the guys on the team. Alex Vlasic, Nolan Allen, Kevin Korchinski, Artyom Levshunov, and Sam Renzel are all super young guys. Like 5 of those guys on the D-Corps are 23 years old or younger, and they all played relatively well compared to the expectations. Alex Vlasic in particular was a power play monster who was blocking shots and being physical. He's a big dude. Kevin Korchinski, Artyom Levshunov doing their best to translate their production into the National Hockey League. Maybe not the best at that, but they tried. And I think the Blackhawks in particular were so satisfied with the way these defensemen were able to develop under Kevin Dean that I do kind of wonder, there's a good, reasonable argument to be made here that the young guys in Vancouver could also stand to use that sort of development. Again, the 3 guys, Mancini, DPD, and Villander. Of course, we all got to figure out what Kevin Dean's about with the other defensemen because Quinn Hughes still exists, Philip Hronik and Meyer still exist, but for now, because there's been nothing but good things mentioned here, I do feel generally optimistic about this hiring, especially if Adam Foote, the guy who had worked on the defense last year and had seen this defense core become as good as it was, is still going to be sticking around there as well. So, with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks re-signing Derek Forbort to a 1-year, $2 million AAV contract. And how do you feel about Kevin Dean being hired to jump onto this D-Corps potentially and help out the Vancouver Canucks young guys? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.